Hi, this is David Kirk. This is a little walkthrough on doing homework number 2. I'm using Word 2013 on Windows 7. If you're using a different version of Word or using the Mac version of Word, then the interface will be just a little different. Now, the first thing on the instructions, it tells you to please use Times Roman 12-point font unless otherwise stated. And next thing it says, insert a page number in the top right. To do that, what you should do is go to the Insert tab, and then you'll see page number, and then top of page, and then you can choose any of the ones that you want to that says on right. I'm going to do this accent bar too. Looks nice. And when you do that, notice that you're up in the header area of the document. If I just double click back down here in the body, it'll put me back down in the body. And on these, you don't need to type the questions. You can just type the answers. Like for one, just answer what those Word keyboard shortcuts are. If you just Google Word keyboard shortcuts, you can find tons of websites. Probably the first website you see will have all the answers you need for what those keyboard shortcuts are. Okay, number 2, one question is how tall is a 72-point font? Well, if you notice up here in the point sizes, right now I'm on 12-point, you'll notice it kind of goes some odd sizes right here, with 72 being the largest one, although you can type in any number that you want. You can use something much larger. But anyway, that comes from the printing industry, and this would be the height of a font. And basically, once you look, again, Google it, look up on the internet, how many inches is a 72-point font when you print it? Okay. Now, the next one is, one question is, what do you call the word processing function that automatically moves a word to the next line if it doesn't fit? For example, if I'm typing right here, I'm typing today I will discuss the movie Star Space. Now I'm going to start typing Wars, and notice that that's called word wrap. It automatically wraps my word down to the next line because it wouldn't fit on that first line. Okay, now, so that's word wrap, but let's just say, for example, for some reason you didn't want it to put a space in between Star and Wars. Now, instead of doing a space right here, what you could do is do a Shift Control space, and then when you type Wars, it keeps those two words together without splitting the line in between them. Now, another question might be, what does it mean when it puts a red squiggly line under a word? So if it doesn't know what the word you're typing is, if it can't look it up in the dictionary and find it, that's just called spell check. Okay. Anyway, that's questions 1 and 2. Most of those you can find by looking up on Google. Okay, so now question 3. Okay, now gets just a little bit harder. Here it wants you to install a font called Sketchblock Font. Now, we have a whole bunch of fonts built into Word, but there are websites where you can get lots of other fonts that you can use. Say you're making a greeting card or a flyer or something, you want a special font. Now, the most popular website for fonts is called dafont.com. And if you were to go to this website and do a search for Sketchblock, don't search these other ones up here. Those takes you to other websites. Search for Sketchblock. It will pull up the Sketchblock font here. And then if you click on download, it says, notice that it's a zip file, which is just a folder that contains other things. So I'm going to open that up. And now within that folder, that zip folder, here is my sketchblock.ttf font file. Now, for security purposes, you should never install an executable unless you know specifically what it is for, that it's safe, or you got to be careful about being tricked into installing something that installs an executable as a byproduct. Right here, all I've got is a TTF file, which is safe. You won't have a virus in a font file. And if I double click it, and now it opens up in Windows and shows the font, and now I have the button that says install. I just click that. All it's doing is just copying that file over to my computer when you hit the install. And it says it's already installed. I'm just going to hit no. Okay, so this was already installed on mine. And so now, when I'm going to go back to Word, and so now I can type my name using that Sketchblock font. You'll see that font there as soon as you install it. So here's Sketchblock font, and then it says make it 48 point, and then go to 48 point, and now I can type my name. How about your name? And that's done. Now please note that when you upload your homework on eCampus, the Sketchblock font is not installed in the preview on eCampus. After you upload a file, you'll see a little preview of what you uploaded. So it will just default back to some other font. But your document's still good. When I download it to my computer, it will be back in the Sketchblock font. Okay, so now I'm going to, on the next question, of course, I'm going to go back to the Times New Roman 12 point. Okay, now another one is it says insert an Austin quote style text box in the middle of the page. Real easy, just go to the insert and then text box, and you'll notice that one of the options here is Austin quote. If you have a different version of Word, and just find something that's similar to this, it might have a different name. And so then right here, you know, here it says I can type what I'd rather be doing. I would rather be whatever you type. Okay. Now, let's see. I'm going to move this up here. Right below there. Okay. Let's see. Next part, another difficult part is this, to insert that equation. To do that equation, what you do is you go to the Insert tab, and then you go to Equation, and that puts your equation in there. I'm going to go ahead and, it says make the font size 36. I'm going to go ahead and change to 36 point. I'm going to go back to the Home tab, and then go to 36 point. Notice that it's a different font, the Cambria Math. Then back to the Equation Tools Design. And so now I can type my equation in here. Okay, now different ways you can do this. I would start out with doing a fraction because you have the numerator on top of the denominator. Under fraction, just click the first option underneath it. Now what it does is it gives me a little dotted box where I can type the numerator and a dotted box to type the denominator. So I'm going to click up there in the numerator. I'm going to go ahead and do this script because I got to type x plus y raised to the second power. I'm just going to go ahead and do that now just to get it over with. And under script, I'm going to do the first option. See, that allows me to type the squared right here, and then click in this box and type the x plus y, just like that. And now in the denominator, I'm going to click down here. The first thing I'm going to do is the first option under radical, which is the square root. And now click in this small box here. And I'm going to do x. I'm just going to go ahead and do the, I'll come back and do the cubed, x minus pi. Now you can find pi as one of the symbols up here. There it is. And now to do the x cubed, I've got to select the x and then come up here to script and then do this same box. And so then I can type in the x cubed right there. Okay, so that's your equation. Okay, now on part 4, it says using maps.google.com, find a satellite image of someplace you'd like to visit. For example, Eiffel Tower. So I'm going to go back to my web browser. Of course, I've already searched for the Eiffel Tower here under Google Maps. Now, make sure that you have the Google Earth or satellite button selected. Otherwise, it'll just show you a map. It says it wants a satellite image. That's an image taken from a satellite. So it actually looks, you can actually see the real Eiffel Tower, not just a map. Okay, so once you find whichever place you would like to visit and write about, then you need to take a screen capture. Now, this isn't just an image. I can't right click on it and just copy the image. It's a little bit harder. We've got to do a screen capture, which is a good tool to know how to do. Now, on the Mac, it's going to be a little bit different. On PC, on the latest 2 versions of Windows, we've got this thing called the snipping tool. If you look, just search under the start menu for snipping tool, and then the snipping tool, when you click on that program, it allows you to draw a square around the part of the screen you want to copy, and then that's it. Now I can just click on the copy right here, and when I go back to Word, I can paste. You know, you can Control V or right click paste, and now there's the image that I wanted in my document. And so now it says write a 2-paragraph narrative. Please don't copy off of Wikipedia or anything. You know, read about it and write a couple paragraphs about why you would like to visit this place. And in these 2 paragraphs, note that it says your the line spacing should be 1.5 lines, and that is right up here under paragraph. Right now, I think we're just using the 1 line, but you can change that to 1.5 for those 2 paragraphs. It just puts a little bit more space between the lines. Oh, and also it says set the justification to full justification. By default, everything is left justified right here. Here you can center stuff, usually done in titles. Full justification, which aligns stuff on the left and right, is right here. Okay, so now, so here in part 3 you can, or I mean part 4, you can complete that. Now another thing you could, this will be part 4, write your paragraphs. Another thing you can do, and I'm going to do on the next one, is change these pictures so that text wraps around them. Right now you can't just move it anywhere on the page, but if I come up, if I select a picture and come up here to Picture Tools Format, and then Wrap Text, and then select the square, then it allows me to move a picture anywhere on the screen, and now my text will actually wrap around it. Okay, so now I'm going to come on down to the last part. I'm going to do a Control Enter, which skips to the next page. And this will be your part 5. And on this part, you need to create the table like you see there, but you're going to put in your own text and own pictures. Okay, so on this table, why don't you start out with 5 rows and 2 columns. So to insert a 5-row and 2-column table, I'm just going to go to the Insert tab, and then here under Table, I'm going to go to 5 rows and 2 columns, just like that. Okay, now you'll notice for the title, we need to merge these 2 cells for the title bar. So to do that, I just click in the left cell, drag to the right, so those 2 cells are merged, are selected, and then I right click on my selection and then select Merge Cells. And now there's also a title for the actually the bottom 2 cells and the cells above those need to be merged too. So I'm going to select those 2 cells, right click and merge, and then these 2 cells, right click and merge. Okay, now whatever you do, don't grab these and start spacing this out. As you start typing in text, the table will space out on its own. Okay, now the next thing is it says set the table borders to 2 1/4 inch point width. What I like to do, you can do this border painter, but I think the easy way to do it, since you want to do the entire table, is I would come up here where it says borders, and if you do the very bottom down here where it says borders and shading, pops up this window, and now you can select the width of the borders to be 2 1/4 point, And notice that it's applying it to the entire table. So if I hit OK, now I've got the borders width. Okay, now up here, the title should be Our Robotic Future. And then you should put a shading on this cell. You don't have to do the exact same shading that you see there, the purple. But if you're clicked in a cell and you're up here, Table Tools Design, then you've got the shading. So you can select a shading for that cell. Okay, and then the font should be Arial 48 point bold, and the color should be white. So I'm going to select what I typed, Our Robotic Future, go back to the Home tab, and I'm going to select Arial. Man, we got a lot of fonts, don't we? Arial bold 48 point, and then the color should be white. So that would be right here. And it almost fills up the whole thing, but you can go ahead and center it. Moves it over just a little bit. And so that takes care of that. So now I'm going to think that you can take care of shading these other title bars and cells. Now the last part is for the columns, you're supposed to write about robots at work, robots at home, and robots on the road. For this part on robots on the road, just do a little research what you really think about self-driving cars and write about it. And for robots at work, think about how a robot could be used at your job. For example, and you need to insert a picture of a typical robot that might be used at work. Now, I'm just going to go to Google Images. I'm going to just go to, how about a virtual presence device? And I'm just going to go to images here. Of course, it was made famous here on Big Bang Theory. But this is just a typical type of robot to where you could be somewhere else and you could be over the internet and wheel this thing around at your job. So here's an image of one. So I'm just going to right click and copy on the image. Go back to my Word document. And now I'm going to paste it into the cell that it's supposed to go into. Now I'm going to write my text. I am writing about virtual presence devices in the workplace. This would allow me to work from home and interact with people at my job. So just for example. Now on these, what you should do, again, change it so that the text will wrap around the picture. Right now it doesn't wrap around the picture. And also you may need to make the picture smaller so it fits in your column. So with the picture selected, again, I come up here to Picture Tools Format and then Wrap Text in Square. And so now you'll notice that the text wraps around the picture and looks really good when you're doing something like these columns right here. And then robots at home, you've got robotic vacuum cleaners, you've got robotic lawnmowers, or maybe you want to be more adventurous and look at actual humanoid robot that people are working on or something like that. So robots on the road, self-driving cars, again, you may agree or disagree with the idea. Just research a little bit and write what you think. But anyway, I think that's about it, and it shouldn't be that bad. I think you could get this thing completed. Please email me with your questions and I can help you out. And if you have any troubles with this font, don't stress too much about it. I can send you that file if you need to, or I can help. If you really have problems with it, let me know and I can help you out with it. Okay, anyway, good luck. See you soon.